and it encouraged them to base their explanations on poetic expressions, for example, and use anything to prove anything, basically. Unfortunately, this condition became so bad that the verses were at times being extended with numerical values, and we've seen a lot of that literature. Okay. In Abjad, Hawaz, Hukti Kalama, each letter having a specific numerical value, and the verse of Quran being explained. And I'm not saying one way or the other it is valid or not, okay? But this was too much for a common man. Okay? And to look for all those things, okay, would be very cumbersome to a normal believing human being. Maybe this was something of the highest order of the development of mind or of inner self. Okay. Well, Quran was not revealed for Sufis only. Yeah. Quran was for the whole mankind. Okay. If these numerical truths were really valid, they were beyond the reach of a common man. Absolutely so. Okay. These numerical values and their ramifications, or the astrological calculations that went with them, or the time of the day, Asar, that they talk about, that this is an opportune time for something, this time is no good a time, you shouldn't do anything like that, and so on and so forth. Or the effects of lunar cycles, on day and night, okay? When the moon was rising, the moon was falling. They said that these things are visible in nature. You see the tides rising with the rising moon, and you see the tides falling with the falling moon, and so on and so forth. Okay? And there is some lunar effect, whether it's lunatic or not, we don't know. Okay? But there is some effect, okay, of these changes in the cosmos. Okay? And they try to explain all these things, okay, with the verse of Quran justifying their approach. Okay? My bone with that is that if Quran was really justifying this approach, then Quran was restricted only to a very few people, knowledgeable enough to understand all these realities, which would be only less than 1% of humanity. 99% of humanity would not know the numerical value of Alif from Ya, and hence would lose, whereas Quran says that its guidance for everyone. Of course, there are traditions from Prophet ﷺ and the Imams of the world that they talk about inner meanings of Quran. There is a tradition that says that Quran has 70 layers of meaning, for example. And that those who say that by 70 is not meant only 70 layers per se, but it talks about kasra, because in Arabic, 70 is kasra. Many, many layers. Whatever they are, in all those traditions it says that suffice for you is to follow the outer layer. Something that's understood by everyone. So all these went into the body of tafsir. Okay. So when we'll be analyzing tafsir, we'll be looking at various viewpoints. Okay. Of course, we're not going to study each and every tafsir, but we'll pick up from and look at these viewpoints. In our times, the science of tafsir has changed, to a great deal. And the modern mufassirin of this century and the last century, particularly this century, have taken a different approach. One of the approaches taken is by those people who are influenced by the natural sciences and the development in technology, the physical development of the world, the modern sciences, the modern chemistry, the modern biology. And they, at times, try to explain away the words of Quran based on these theories. Our problem with them is that theories change. There was no science is perfect. What we know to be perfect today, and real today, and provable today, may 10 years down the road be wrong and proved wrong. We have seen it. In the last 50 years, many theories have come and gone. And at the time of their presentation, those theories were supposed to be right. Okay. Later on, they were proved to be wrong. Okay. So, the scientific explanation of Quran, okay, if Quran itself does not lead to it, okay, when based on the assumption of scientific theories, may prove to be wrong in the years to come. What would you say then? If you today explain a verse of Quran, okay, based on a scientific theory that to you is relevant today, is provable today, okay, 10 years down the road, if that theory turns out to be having many holes and outdated, as you call it, what do you say then? That brings me to a fundamental question. Why do I need a theory of science, physical or otherwise, to prove the Word of God or to explain the Word of God? Do I need it? No. Brings to me a fundamental concept of knowledge. Quran's knowledge is absolute because that is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Quran has claimed La raddin wa la yabisin illa fi kitabin mubin. There's nothing but a dry that's not in this book. That I am not able to understand it, that I can't explain it, that the modern science has not been able to fathom the depth of it, that's besides the point. Okay. As the science progresses, maybe people will understand it. And as it progresses more, the understanding will be more. But never in that journey of my understanding would I bank on the scientific theories to be real and everlasting. To me, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be real, is real and everlasting. There is a fundamental difference. I am not against science and technology to understand things. I am not against your understanding of physical realities that science has proven. No. What I am saying is that everything remains in the world as far as knowledge is concerned, the work of man. This is the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will always overrule what is the word of science. These materialists sometimes, whether their origin is in Muslim world or outside, whether they are realists as they call themselves or pragmatists as they call themselves, under the influence of these scientific theories, declare, many times declare, that the religious realities cannot go against scientific knowledge. That is their bottom line. Okay. That realities of religion cannot go against scientific knowledge. Okay. But is scientific knowledge absolute? No, it's not. It keeps on changing, it keeps on evolving. Okay. You cannot compare a reality that is absolute with something that's evolving. Okay. Quranic knowledge is absolute. It cannot be compared with something that is evolving, and still you don't know the direction that will lead you to. Okay. This started in India with a person called Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, the founder of Aligarh University. He's the first Muslim university in India. His concept was to explain the religious realities in the light of scientific knowledge. Okay. And if you go through many of his writings today, you will see how stupid it sounds. I'm sorry for those